Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm neither of those two people. I'm Bill Allred from X96. Radio from Hell. Good morning, good afternoon, I guess it is now. I've been here since 6 o'clock this morning. Nice to see you all. It is my pleasure to welcome to the stage in no particular order, other than I know she was the one standing right behind me. McFadden, Dr. Beverly Crusher. And Denise Crosby. Nice, huh? Where do you guys want to sit? Where, right there?
I couldn't save her. I tried. I did my best, damn it.
Some doctor you were.
She tried. Now, I'm going to let you guys ask a lot of questions, and we'll let these two do most of the talking, but just a little bit of an introduction. Gates McFadden, Dr. Beverly Crusher. You know, she has really deep nerd cred, of course. Most of you probably know this, but some of you may not. She worked with Jim Henson. Choreographed the ballroom scene in Labyrinth. Yes?
I did the entire choreography and puppet movement for Labyrinth.
Dark Crystal. Worked on Dark Crystal as well. Very much geek cred, and the Muppet Steak Manhattan as well. You worked on that. She was in all of the Star Trek Next Generation movies, First Contact, all of them. You know what they are. Were you in a trauma film? Is it true you were in a trauma film? When Nature Calls? Is that true? That's geek cred of the best sort.
You know, I've never even seen that, but David Strathairn, who was in that, who later, we did theater stuff together, and he's an amazing actor. David Strathairn, you know him, right? Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you know, you're just doing the intro, but yes, I did a lot of theater, and I had a long teaching career, and, you know, what can I tell you?
Well, not only was David Strathairn in that, but G. Gordon Liddy was in it. And Maury Amsterdam was in it.
Oh my God, see, I didn't even, yeah, there
so
you go.
didn't even know.
No, I didn't even know.
You didn't even know. And, and I, you know, Jonathan Frakes, of course, who I know you're...
Who is he?
Jonathan Frakes.
Do you know him?
Who will be on this stage tonight at 7 o'clock, and I'll be back here with John. And I can call him that because I went to school with him 30 some odd years ago, and I saw him just a little while ago, and he said to ask you, when you look at your bio, which birthday do you want to go by?
Which I like the one that has me being, like, youngest. No, you know why I did that? I'll tell you the story. I'm only 29, damn it. They think I look old. No, the thing was, is Richard Arnold came up to me. We had just started filming, and I had like this weird stalking experience in my 20s, and I was like very reticent to give out personal information. Of course, I was so stupid because, I mean, Paramount Studios had the birthday. And so I said, he said it's going to be on a calendar, and I was like, okay, August 28th. I just guessed it, you know, and so that was always there. And I didn't know he was going to have a calendar, actually. I just thought he wanted to know, and he was a fan. I found out later that he wasn't just a fan. He was, you know, an archivist and everything. And then I felt like an idiot, but by then I sort of went, you know, I get birthday cards twice. I get presents twice. I'm going to keep it, you know? Anyway.
So that's why I told me to ask you that. And she rides a unicycle. I saw a video of it. She rides a unicycle. Now, let me introduce Denise Crosby. Or as John said, Pookie?
Pookie.
Where does that come from, Pookie?
You know, that name stuck. I have a feeling Johnny started that.
Yeah, I think he did. I
And
think he was the
on
one.
my dressing room, you know, we have these crap trailers that, you know, look like litter boxes. And
really tiny.
and that on my dressing room door, it said Pookie Yar. So what can I tell you? To this day, LeVar and Jonathan and they always say Pookie. And of course, Patrick says Pookie.
Oh, it's you, Pookie. Denise Crosby appeared in Playboy magazine.
That's a way to start an interview.
Look, you saw on the screen, didn't you? I mean,
You did not see that on the screen, did you?
but you could be in Playboy today.
You know, that's awesome. I love you.
Pookie, may I?
Yeah, of course. You know, well, anyway, wait, you brought up Playboy. I mean,
How did that happen? Because that was very early.
I wasn't, you know, Playboy is such a great story, actually, because if it were not for Playboy magazine, I wouldn't have become an actor. And indirectly, that magazine was the reason, because a casting woman who was like the biggest casting director in Hollywood at the time, Lynn Stallmaster, saw those pictures and asked me to come in for a movie of the week called Diary of a Teenage Hitchhiker. I was living at my parents' home, and he got my home phone number through Playboy magazine and called me, and I began to study seriously, and he helped me get an agent, all from that magazine, because I did it in total rebellion from my family name.
Your grandfather, Bing Crosby, was he still? He was still around then. Yeah?
No, he had died by then. That certainly would have killed him.
That killed him. Yeah. He probably rolled over in his grave.
That was the point of doing it. You know, you're very rebellious. I was all of 20 years old when I did that, and had no intention of ever sitting up on a stage like this and talking to a lot of fans, but that was from that.
Certainly a lot of geek cred, if you will, for Denise Crosby as well. She's done all kinds of horror movies and television shows. She was in Pet Sematary, the Stephen King, episodes of The X-Files, The New Adventures of Superman on TV. She was Dexter's first victim on Dexter, which she was in a Tobe Hooper movie, a Mortuary. She was just in the penultimate episode of Walking Dead. She was in Red Shoe Diaries. That's horror as well, I think. She was on the very first season of The Next Generation. 22 episodes, I think? Something like that? I think that's what I read today, 22 episodes.
Well, they did 26, right?
26.
For a season, so I was in 25, I think.
And then you left the series, and somebody will ask about that, and you'll talk about that. And then you returned in a series of guest starring roles, and as the series went on. How many times did you return? You know?
I came back in yesterday's Enterprise, which then kind of paved the road for Tasha's daughter, Sela, to come forth. So I think I played Sela in maybe 4 or 5 episodes. You guys would know more than me. Yeah.
I saw the number, I didn't write it down, but and then you were in the final episode.
Yeah, that's right.
All Good Things. And you, but from one season, you just established, and it was a season that, and you didn't feel great about your work there, or you wanted to move on, and we'll talk about it, but somehow that one season established you as a beloved character. Isn't that amazing?
Amazing. And, I think as I just kind of look back on all of this with some distance. I think the very reason for that is because I died in a certain way. I think it becomes a little more iconic in a way.
You also, then you went on to do lots of other things that we mentioned. Also very well known for the Trekkies 2 movies, right? Trekkies, that became a big deal, and also Star Trek Online. You've done work with that, so very accomplished work since leaving The Next Generation. How long has it been since that show's been off the air? God, I don't know. And here we are talking about it, and we'll continue to talk about it long after, they'll talk about it long after all of us are gone, I'm sure. Star Trek, The Next Generation, the series, and then the 4 movies. Which you didn't do anything with any of the movies, but Gates, McFadden, in all of them.
Yes, and I also had a life out of Star Trek. I actually have another resume as well. Yes, it's been about 26 years since we did the whole thing. It was the 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
I think should we have questions?
Yeah, all right, you guys can all ask questions. Are there mics set up down here so that people can come and ask questions? Is there just the one microphone, or do we have? Where's the other one? There's one here. So line up, and where's the other one? There's this one here, and there's one over there. So we'll go back and forth, all right? We'll do it that way. Let's start over here, because that's the one I saw first. Go ahead. Get up really close to the microphone. What's your name? What do you want to ask?
Hi, my name is Morgan, and I was wondering why you both wanted to do Star Trek.
Wow. Hi, Morgan.
Why you both wanted to do Star Trek?
Well, actually, I turned it down twice before I said yes for the 3rd time. Because I wanted to do, I've always been passionate about theater. I did a lot of theater in New York. I acted in a lot of plays. And I wanted to work with Linda Hunt. And Linda Hunt was doing a play and Des McAnuff was directing. And so I turned it down to go do a job in a theater, The Matchmaker by Thornton Wilder. And then I was lucky enough to be asked again. And, you know, I thought about it, and I thought there's a reason, sort of something in the universe. You know how you get that feeling? You say, why am I lucky enough to have something keep coming in front of me? And I really went, I should think about this, and maybe I should do this. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. It has been, I've really evolved as a person through all of the years of Star Trek. I first was frightened of fans. I really was, and then I became, like, amazed by fans, and today it's pretty extraordinary when you have 3 generations who come up and they say we all watch it and we've watched it together, and there's someone who's this tall, someone who's this tall, you know, it's pretty remarkable to me. And when something like in the panel last night, Feet, who I don't know if he's in the audience or not, but it was pretty remarkable to me the way it's affected people's lives. I don't take any personal credit. I think it was the bond of everybody. And Patrick was an incredible captain. But I did it because at the time it was a job. But you know what? It became more than that later. It really taught me a lot about things in a certain way, and about myself. I also believe very much in space and the space program and the future. So that's why I did it.
You know, I was starting out in my career. I was pretty young and just getting going. I'd never been on a TV series before. I'd done, you know, some guest parts, but I was just beginning, and so I had watched all the original Star Trek, the classic Star Trek. I used to watch it every night at 5 o'clock with my neighbor who was 84, and I was 18. And we used to, which tells you exactly what Gates was talking about, how many generations together can share this show. And so when I got the call and got the script, I wasn't told much. I was a little concerned that they were remaking Star Trek. I thought, uh-oh, but Gene Roddenberry was doing it himself, so that was comforting and reassuring. And then the process began. I think I had to do 5 different auditions. I started out reading for the part of Counselor Troy, and Marina was reading for the part of Tasha Yar. And somewhere in the midst of it all, they switched us, and so it began. It was my first real regular part on a TV series.
Can I ask Morgan a question? Morgan, why do you watch Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Because I think it's really cool.
I was afraid Morgan was going to say, I've never seen it. Who's over here? What's your name? What's your question?
Hi, my name is Kirsten, and I just wanted to say that the two of you, I was raised by a single mother in a religion where they kind of looked down on her for being a single mother. And we also weren't allowed to have television, but apparently my mom was very much a heathen and a sinner because we had one channel. We had one channel, and the one channel we watched Star Trek every day, the original, and we were all so excited when we found out that there was, and we waited and we watched it, and having a mother who was a very strong, independent woman, watching the two of you, you were the first two really strong female role models in sci-fi.
Thank you.
And you really taught me how to stand up for myself and be graceful. And just, I really thank you for that, for all that. And I was wondering, did you have any idea that you would be, I don't know if feminist is the right word, but...
I think we got, did you get all that, Gates?
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, I think, I think when Gene talked, I talked about it a little bit in the panel last night. Gene, when he was hiring me, he really said, I feel there's so many single mothers in this country. I feel it's important, and so many of them, well, of course, if you have quite a few kids, that's like more than a full-time job. But also, most women have at least one job that they're doing, and it's very hard, especially if it's something they're passionate about. And in fact, fathers and mothers sometimes have more than one job each. So it's not that easy to raise children, and I think it's a great thing to have role models of people who are working and who are struggling, but who try to get along. And I've learned how much of a role model it was. I certainly didn't feel like a role model, but and I struggled as a parent just like anybody else does, right? I mean, it's like an incredible, to raise children well is really hard. I know, but he saved our ass on the ship, time after time. So, I taught him a lot of stuff, okay? It wasn't Picard, it wasn't number 1, it was Beverly.
You know, I come from a single mother, so I have great respect for women that my mother stood up against a huge wall of hostility and fought some good battles to keep me, and so I know that I was channeling that with Tasha Yar. There's no doubt in my mind. And as a matter of fact, with Sela as well, both. Even though Sela had, some things to work out, they both, are women that were raised, without. Well, Tasha was raised with no one, So, but what a wonderful compliment! There's no way I could have ever seen this happening. So this is a remarkable gift, and. What a fine woman you are. So thank you.
Let's go over here now. What's your name, sir?
I'm Jacob. Denise Gates. I've had crushes on you both since the show show premiered. If either of you ever wanted to be a cougar, I'd be available to you.
I'll keep that in mind.
My question for you both is like, when it came to merchandising, action figures, lunchbox, t-shirts, what was that experience like when you first came across that?
Oh, I've got to go to. All right, so I was, you know, in the beginning, Paramount used to give us like 1,000 photos and stuff. We'd be in our trailers signing, and we would just, you know, send them off. And I replied to all my fan mail, and then I don't know what season it was. It must have been when I came back in the 3rd season. No, it had to be even longer. What am I saying? The first action figure came out. I had a child. Let me put it that way. Okay, so he was little, and he was maybe 1.5 or 2 or something, 2. And he saw me signing stuff, and they were showing us the dolls because the action figures, and he went, "Oh, a mommy doll." Because he had always gone to the trailer, and Brent was his godfather, so he really didn't know what either Michael Dorn or Brent looked like without makeup, but he was like, that was Uncle Brent, you know, and he liked Worf, he wasn't afraid of Worf, didn't know who Michael Dorn was at all. And I mean, that's where he learned how to walk. So that was one of my, like, I went, you know, that's bad. And then also when we would sign these autographs, I was doing it because we were supposed to do it. And he said, "Mommy, stop signing your face, come play with me." And I went, okay, there's something wrong here. And so I said, I will stop right now. Okay, that's like really weird, right? So I stopped doing it, and that's why I stopped doing conventions for a while too, because it was a weird experience, and I didn't want him to think I was anything but Mom.
But you do a weird thing on Tumblr with your action figure, don't you?
I do very weird things on Tumblr with my action figure. That was my way of dealing with all of the licensing. I thought it was very funny to have encounters. So I have 1/8 Bev, and I have the Pez, and 1/8 Bev sometimes encounters 1/8 Picard. And anyway, I have fun with it, and it's very tongue-in-cheek, and I actually have fun with it. So check out the theater website, and you can see all the photos.
And there are Tasha Yar action figures as well.
One of my favorite stories involving my action figure, which I too have a son, and I wouldn't let him near mine, you know, at all, because I thought it would be very confusing, and you know, now it's like he thinks I look like a transvestite most of the time. But my favorite, I was at a Comic-Con. This is years ago. In Pasadena, you know, local in LA, you know, a suburb of LA. And I had just been to the Sundance Film Festival, perfect, that we're in Salt Lake City. And I saw for the first time a Quentin Tarantino movie for the very first time, which was Reservoir Dogs. Premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, and it won everything. I mean, clearly Quentin Tarantino was going to be a rock star. So, I'm standing, I'm signing, you know, I'm just like looking up, and suddenly I look up, and Quentin Tarantino is standing in line at the Comic-Con with my action figure. And I looked up and I went, oh my God. Oh my God. Are you Quentin Tarantino? And he said, yeah. And, you know, he's like so animated. And I went, I just saw your amazing movie at Sundance. It was like unbelievable. And he goes, oh, thanks. And I said, you want my action figure? And he goes, yeah. I'm gonna put it on my mantle next to my John Travolta Saturday Night Fever action figure. And I felt, man, this is it. I've made it. And so I'm sure John Travolta and I are like, you know, dancing together. as action figures on Quentin's mantle somewhere.
Nice. Let's go over here.
Hi. So you sort of touched on it, my question, but I was just wondering why you both ended up leaving the show and what brought you back.
Gates left for a season and came back.
I got fired. I got fired because I disagreed with one of the writers about some things, and I think, I'd go down if I felt something was sexist or racist, and I'd say, I think this is a little racist or this is a little sexist or something, and apparently that sort of didn't go down well. And so at the end, it was a big surprise to me, at the end of the season, he had apparently, I heard this from one of the other producers, that he said it's either her or me. And so they let me go. And they brought in someone else, and that was okay. I went to New York, I did a really interesting David Williamson play, and I did a movie, Hunt for Red October, and it was all right. And then Patrick called me and said, "Darling, would you ever consider coming back?" And then I started to get some other calls, and they asked me back, and then he was fired. My whole feeling about fans changed. I could not believe the letters in the campaign. I don't even know what really had to do with it, but I know it certainly didn't Hoyt, that all these people just really, it was an amazing amount of letters, which I read every single one, and I finally went, you know what, you're an idiot not to appreciate these fans. You are a complete idiot. And I really, people would write letters about themselves, and I got really, humbled, and I'm grateful for you guys, whoever, ever helped.
Okay, well, wow, how do I always have to frame this in a way, because it's such a personal journey, for me as an actor, what transpired. I was getting increasingly concerned that this was going to end up to be a background job, that I was going to stand on that horseshoe, which I was, day in and day out, and have, once in a while, have to say, "Aye, aye, Captain." And
we had no scenes. We never had one scene, our characters together. The women really never did, except for like once.
And television, this is the late 80s, and things are changing in television. And ensemble casts are having multiple 3 and 4 storylines going on simultaneously per show. And I thought that's what it would be. That it would all, I wasn't looking to be the star of the show, but I thought I would have an engaging storyline throughout. And I was increasingly seeing that that wasn't going to happen. And at first, they kind of tell you it will, to quiet you down and hush the little children. But I kept, trying to push and trying to find out, where is this going? And I was increasingly getting more and more frustrated. And the last thing I wanted to do was bring that energy onto the show. It wasn't fair to them, and it wasn't fair to me to be frustrated like that.
You weren't happy.
And it was I made the decision to leave. Now, the only way that was ever possible was that Gene Roddenberry and I had a final conversation where I was brought into his office, and he said, I understand you want to leave the show. And I said, well, where is this character going? I mean, what am I doing? Will it change? Is it going to get better? He said, I have to be honest with you, it will not get better. The stories will always involve the captain, Data, and the first officer. That's what it was like in the classic. That's a formula I know, and I'm not changing it. And he said, I don't want you to leave, but I understand why you would want to. So then I made the decision to go.
And it's interesting, because I think there is a lot of times when they do tell you when they want you to come on board, oh, it's going to be this. I was absolutely told that I was going to be the love interest of Picard, that all these other things were going to happen. And I know that the character was very popular that first season, but I think it was difficult for maybe Gene and some of the writers because they had to come up with these new stories, and some of the first year scripts were derivative a bit of the first series. And then there were new writers that were also brought on, and by the time I came back, they were getting all these Pulaski scripts. Pulaski. And so it took a while. It takes a while because there's such an advance with the writing to get the scripts back. And
which is true. It changed, but of course I couldn't, have foreseen that. But it did, and I mean this in all due respect, it changed once Gene left and Michael Piller came onto the show. And it was, it takes a while. It takes a while. So that was what that was about. It wasn't with any hostility or there was no event that happened. And it wasn't a rash decision. I spent a number of months trying to figure out if it was the right thing for me to do. And there was no other job I was going to. I was employed one day and unemployed the next. So it wasn't for that.
And don't you think maybe it was a little hard, for some of like that first season writers, since, they didn't have as much of that experience of writing for strong female characters that a lot of writers do now, although it always could get better. And I think that's one of the reasons it was hard for them. Like, one of my complaints was exactly what I was joking about earlier. I said, I think it's great that Wesley has talks with the captain and number one. He needs a male figure in his life. But I also feel that it does a disservice to single mothers in this country to never have anything other than oh honey, here's your lunchbox, come on, and shut up, Wesley. I feel that I felt that there also needed to be some things where you really have to teach your child discipline and how, you have a lot of lessons that are not easy, and you have to be a mentor to your child as well. And I thought that was the kind of thing that they didn't really have an experience of having a strong female who, as you've had to do in your life, I've had to do with my son, we have serious conversations.
All right, let's go over here. What's your name?
Abby.
Abby, go ahead.
Abby!
Thanks for you, Denise. May I have my book back?
Oh, someone has it.
Who has it?
Backstage, someone has it. Abby, for all of you in the dark here, Abby gave me a copy of Pet Sematary to sign, and it was one I hadn't seen with a new introduction from Stephen King. So I asked if I could borrow it to read it, and now she's asking for it back.
She sold it online. She sold it online.
You're not getting it back, okay? It's mine now. No, we'll give it back. Come back to my table.
We only have about 5 minutes, so let's see if we can get quickly questions.
Yes, just very quickly here. First off, ladies, you're beautiful. You've always been beautiful. Been with you for forever.
Thank you.
My question is this for Miss Crosby.
Crosby?
Crosby. Excuse me.
She's Bill Crosby's granddaughter.
Right.
Yeah,
at any rate, I'm also a great fan of The Walking Dead.
Cool.
Will we see more of Pauline in this next season? And can you give us any clues what's going on?
Pauline? The character's Mary.
Oh yeah, you're a big fan, I can tell. Nice try, Purple Man.
It was
okay.
I'm old.
Aren't we all? Mary, you're talking about. Mary, Terminus. Yes, I believe you will see more of Mary. That is a show that one cannot say a word about.
Okay.
I am sworn to secrecy.
Thanks, Purple Man. Let's go over here. What's your name, young lady?
My name's Eileen. I'm from Phoenix.
Yeah.
I'm on staff at Phoenix Comic-Con, and we love the reunion show, and we hope you'll come back to us. A quick thank you for your strong role models, raising my kids as a single mom in the 90s. One of them is handicapped. Thank you. And Gates, for you, tell us a little bit about your theater work, and tell us maybe if you're going to be willing to take some of your shows on the road and bring them to us.
Yeah!
Denise and I are members of Ensemble Studio Theater in Los Angeles. I'm a member also in New York of the New York branch, and I'm artistic director there currently. I'm
And a hell of a director, by the way.
And we built a 3-theater space, and literally the money, that I do these cons for, it really goes to support the theater, which is a nonprofit. And we do very progressive, edgy work. We only do new plays, except occasionally we'll do one that has not been seen just on the West Coast. I directed Denise in a very provocative, strong play called House of Gold. She was amazing. She played a really horrible mother, but she was good, and we really had fun doing it. And Robert Joy, who was on NC New York, what is the crime thing? Yes, he is. And Eve Gordon, who's done a million TV shows. They were in the last play called The Ugly One that I directed, and we do really great stuff. And so I would love it if you all would come to see us in Los Angeles. We do a lot of readings of things. Denise just was in 3 things last week, and I get to act and direct or do whatever. And I'd love your support. Check us out. I auction a lot of my own personal memorabilia that the cast is generous enough to sign, and all of it goes to the nonprofit theater.
Do you get grant money as well?
We do, and we get grants. That's why I'm always slogging the social media, because the grant people now, they like to see, how many people are on Twitter with you and how many people go to your website. So I put my action figure pictures in a Tumblr page there. And you can also see pictures. Brent, I directed Brent in something where he played an aging Frank Sinatra who has a fictionalized encounter with Monica Lewinsky. It was pretty interesting.
Let's see if we can get another quick question in there. What's your name?
I'm Sophia, and my question is that what is your favorite episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Wow. Hi, Sophia. Well, I loved yesterday's Enterprise. It was great, flawless writing, tight story. Of course, got to bring me back alive, which mattered, and it also got to use the Guinan character really cleverly. So I really, really love that one.
And she didn't have to have any medical treatment from me, so she was fine. She was And I would say for me, I loved Remember Me was a lot of fun. I really liked that one. I also liked the one about the Trill. I thought that was a very interesting episode that made you think about what is love and all of that.
We have 1 more minute. What's your name? What's your question?
My name is London, and I have one question for each of you. Denise, what was it like being on Dexter's Table and Gates? I've been watching Jim Henson's Creature Shop. Are you involved in that show, or do you have any comments on it?
No, I haven't been involved in that one, actually. I don't, but I hear it's great. Is it great? And I'm so sad that Brian Pinson died. I just feel his life was cut short. This was Jim's son, and he died recently. Wow. And anyway, I haven't done it, but they are wonderful, and there's nobody like Kermie. Nobody.
And what was it like being on Dexter's Table?
Oh, gosh. No acting was necessary for that one. It probably was the creepiest thing I've ever had to do. I mean, it was not a set. It was actually someone's home that was completely wrapped in plastic. And I was, saran wrapped to a dining room table with, Michael C. Hall killing me, within inches of my chest. I mean, it was pleading for my life. It was horrific, and I hope none of you ever experience it. Let's just put it
Ladies and gentlemen, Denise
Get out of the way.
I love your dress, by the way.
Thank you.
I love your costume.
Oh, thank you.